Would guidance from an expert help you to grow your business or career? Or do you seek inspiration for you or your kids? If so, welcome. Behind the Words TV gives you that one-on-one time with famous and emerging authors or content creators. They'll take you where you want to go. Behind the Words TV, right now. Welcome back to Chapter 2 of Behind the Words TV. Today with Lisa Pelto of Concierge Marketing. Hi again, Lisa.
Hi.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Hey, we've been talking about the idea of how to get my book from a cocktail napkin to Amazon Marketplace. And there's a lot of steps in that process, aren't there?
There are.
Yeah, well, have you ever charted out how many steps there are?
Just in the compliance stage, there's 100.
100 steps.
100 tasks.
Wow,
yes.
That's a lot of compliance. Yeah. Well, people don't understand that and don't realize that. There's a lot of holes to step into and fall over and speed bumps along the way, right? Mm-hmm. Well, that's what I want to talk about in this section somewhat, is that, what are the mistakes? What happens? I mean, you must hear plenty of authors who say, oh yeah, Lisa's there, but I can do this myself. It's all online. Amazon tells me how to do all this, or many other thousands of printing options. But what happens when that happens? What mistakes do people commonly make that you see over and over?
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest one is getting talked into printing a large quantity these days.
I laugh because I have a person I know who, actually more than one, who, what I'm going to say, their garage has lots of boxes of books.
Yes, it's very sad. Today you don't need to do that, so we control that a little bit on our end. The inventory control is very important because you are embarking on a business, and that's I guess the biggest mistake is that people don't see it as a business.
Okay.
They think, oh, my baby, I'm going to get it out into the marketplace and everybody's going to love it. They're going to line up outside the door.
Yeah. Line up outside my garage to buy those books in the garage.
Exactly. So they don't think of it as a business, so they make kind of bad decisions on the money part of it because they're letting the creative side of themselves
take over
and make those decisions.
Well, that's a huge step, because again, well, you might explain what print on demand is briefly.
Print on demand is pretty simple if you break it down into the words. It means it is printed when it is sold, when it is demanded.
Sure. So I order this book on Amazon. You mean Amazon doesn't have 1,000 copies sitting on a shelf and they just pull it off and send it to me?
No,
they don't.
None of the books we have anymore have regular inventory systems with Amazon. If they have a quantity of them, it's because they sell in person.
Well, and and that's important. Right?
Well, when you print a large quantity, people don't think about it. There's other expenses. You have to have inventory control. You have to have a place to store it, insure it, climate control, all that stuff. So
shipping
and go into the post office and all that. Mm-hmm. Plus, you don't have the same distribution opportunities as you used to have prior to the print-on-demand system coming in. You used to have a wholesaler or distributor that you could easily access. Not so much anymore, and you don't need them.
Well, and that's that's a huge change.
It is.
Because, I'll make it really brief. On my first book, 2001, Laid Off and Loving It, Amazon was not print-on-demand at the time, and I found a printer in Iowa to print very small quantities, again, cost-oriented. So they would send me 25. Amazon would send me an email that said, please send us 2 copies.
Right.
And so I'm in the post office to get the books, and then I'm in the post office line again to send the books, and I'm going, there has to be a better way. And fortunately, one was invented.
Right. Well, people get sucked into the per unit cost is going to be so much better if I buy a bunch.
Yeah. I don't know who tells them that.
Yeah, they aren't adding in the additional costs when they're thinking about the unit cost, and they need to.
Right. Well, and you mentioned the storage, the insurance, the climate control. Their garage doesn't have, maybe a little humid or something.
Books love to absorb odors.
Oh my.
Moisture.
Yeah.
Pests.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
you got to think about this before you order those 4 crates, right?
Right.
What other mistakes do people make?
Not editing.
Okay.
Doing a poor job, doing their own cover in their basement. Self-publishing does not mean DIY.
Okay.
And people often
Do it
equate
yourself,
those two. It does not mean you have to create your own cover. It does not mean you have to do all your own editing or your sister's cousin's
Yeah.
best friend's brother
He
is
took one class in graphic design. And
he got an
can
A
do it
in
for me.
English
Oh, yeah.
in high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of that. So not editing is probably really it's disrespectful to your manuscript not to
Interesting.
have it edited.
Well,
I
yeah,
think
yeah.
the cover.
What's the difference between proofing and editing?
At our shop, editing is done in manuscript. That's in a Microsoft Word document that is, you can move things around and actually hack the manuscript apart, reorganize it. When you're proofing, again, at our shop, proofing is done in galley form, which is when it's in book form. And that's a lot different than, an 8.5 by 11 manuscript.
Right.
Because in books, you want them to start and end at the, same.
Yeah, it's got to look like a book.
It has to look
I
like
think
a book.
that's something you taught me. It needs to look like a book.
Right,
Like there's millions of books out there, and let's make it fit in.
Right.
Right.
I think the other big mistake is that people spend all their money in the production part and they don't reserve some for marketing.
And we'll have a segment on marketing,
Yeah.
so we'll talk about that there because yes, that is what I've seen as well.
Yeah.
Why do you think we have books behind the words TV?
Right, exactly.
So yes, okay, cover, people, they think they can design it themselves. How important is a cover to a book?
It's everything. It's your product design. It is, I think the mentality of people, they think a book cover is, something easy. It's something that, that is anybody could do, but it is a static design. So it's not like a brochure, or a business card or something that if there was something wrong with it or it didn't work quite right, you could redesign it really easily.
Yeah.
With a book cover, it's evergreen. It needs to be static design. Business cards, brochures are dynamic designs.
Okay.
They can change.
Okay.
You have to love it. It is your product. So it's just like, if you pick up any product, like the design of this, what is that?
Yeah.
Without thinking about it what it is. It's an eyewear.
Well, yeah, and you don't want to change the image of your cover once you've put it out there as well, because with the internet, everything's propagated everywhere forever, right?
Exactly, it
Yeah.
is. And it's just like if you look at a Coke bottle, it's a Coke bottle. If you look at a Sharpie, it's a Sharpie. The logo, the shape of the Sharpie,
Right.
you know what things are by the general look. So
Right.
if you do all this marketing and it's something that you change later on, then they've got in their heads, they might have seen it
there's
6
confusion.
times. Yeah.
People need a simple approach.
Yeah.
Well, on that same vein, address the whole concept of thumbnail.
That's the other thing is it's going to be this big. And
Especially on a phone.
3/4 of an inch
Really
tall
tiny
is
on a phone, right,
tiny,
yeah.
a tiny thumbnail. And we had this conversation when we did your book. When I'm designing, I'm shrinking it down to an inch tall or 3/4 of an inch tall before I make a decision on a typeface.
Yeah.
Or an image.
Because people really, that's their darling too, isn't it? The cover and how it should look and all that.
Absolutely.
And then you tell them, that's all complex and good and beautiful, but how's it going to look when it's this tall?
Yeah. There's some groundbreaking design out there. Sometimes they don't even put the title or the author's name on the book these days.
Oh, wow.
And that has also run its course a little bit.
Oh my. 30 seconds, any other last mistakes you want to talk about that people make?
I think the biggest mistake is not thinking of it as a business. And it's not, I talked about this before, but it is a business. You need to have a business plan with finance, product development, marketing, and operations all figured out prior to publishing your book.
That's too much work. I just want to write a book and have people beat a path to my door.
Well, then you need to call me.
Okay. All right. That's a great ending point for this segment regarding what mistakes are made on Behind the Words TV with Lisa Pelto of Concierge Marketing. We'll see you in the next segment.